The idea of surrounding the consumer throughout their journey, whether physical or digital, is real. And now you have an opportunity to do it in a much more immersive experience leveraging these technologies. I look at the voice assistant space, and I don't have the numbers following holiday yet, but before that, it was about a 32% penetration of voice assistants happening in people's homes. And it's the fastest technology growth or adoption by consumers that we've seen since the smartphone. So this is a technology that we have to take seriously. You think of the online experience. So obviously convenience is critical. Convenience is a currency. We know this, it's important. But do we have to sacrifice, an immersive experience? So one of the things that we're doing, we're leveraging our payment technology, and we're working with a partner, Next Retail Concepts. And you're actually taking the idea of a physical store where you can actually browse the store, the racks, you see things in a much more visual and immersive way. It's not about going through pages and clicks and catalogs that are sitting online, but it's an actual nice retail upscale environment, and you can actually pay right there as you shop. So everybody should be excited about retail right now. We're coming off of a really terrific holiday season. So particularly, I could say what we saw and were able to report recently was the best uptick in sales in the last 6 years. So retail saw over a 5% increase in sales this holiday season, which was absolutely terrific. And then you look at online and mobile commerce, and you look at the sales there, a 19% increase, which is tremendous. So everybody should be really excited about what's going on in retail.
That's great. To clarify, the holiday period.
The holiday period. Yeah. So I think that's counted from October, the October period. But sales overall were really strong.
Amazing. There's amazing data, and I think we kind of sense some of that. I mean, we talked earlier about the changes that are happening, but we can definitely see momentum. I mean, what's happening in terms of kind of the mind of the consumer, or at least the behavior of the consumer, the shopper? How do you and how does Mastercard going to see that changing?
Sure. I know we've talked about omnichannel for some time in retail, but we do remind ourselves, everybody talks about digital and physical separately. And the reality is, and we see it in payments, the consumer is interchangeably using both throughout their day, throughout their journey. So you can't think of it separate. And you look at, they're moving about, in one moment they might be ordering ahead to get their morning coffee. They might be using a card to tap their card with contactless and move about their day at a physical location. So everywhere you go, you have to have a seamless and as much as possible consistent experience. And what we saw during the holidays, and what was really exciting from the retailer side of it, is it appears that retailers are starting to really flex the muscle of looking at the channels together and really flexing the demand of consumers and inventory that served, whether it was that served the digital purpose as well as what was going on in the physical stores. And they did a really nice job of meeting consumers' demand. But it is this idea that they're separate is not something that we should, take lightly. It's not. It's about being fully omnichannel and following that consumer journey, which is physical and digital. There's no separation anymore.
So how do you kind of see kind of the evolution of retail? What's kind of beyond that sort of physical and digital? Any kind of specific kind of trends that you're excited about?
I think it's time for more. It's happening. Technology is bringing us the ability to have much more immersive experiences more than ever. So with technologies that I'm sure you're hearing about throughout the conference, whether that's augmented reality, that's really helping to drive greater retail engagement or presence, or VR in particular retail circumstances, or voice assistants. The idea of surrounding the consumer throughout their journey, whether physical or digital, is real. And now you have an opportunity to do it in a much more immersive experience, leveraging these technologies. I look at the voice assistant space, and I don't have the numbers following holiday yet, but before that, it was about a 32% penetration of voice assistants happening in people's homes. And it's the fastest technology growth or adoption by consumers that we've seen since the smartphone. So this is a technology that we have to take seriously, and it's a different experience, and you have to build for that experience. And what we see is that we saw 26% of consumers saying they actually made a purchase through that voice assistant as well. So this is growing faster, than anybody I think expected. It's
Hmm.
in your home, it's in your car, it's in your phone. So, and I'm sure many people already know, but when you even look at voice from a marketing perspective, uh, there are about the same podcast users are there that there are Twitter users monthly. So the idea of sound and then immersive technologies
Hmm.
is really critical for retailers to take a hold of.
Okay. I mean, that is really interesting. I think we've all seen Voice, and we've wondered whether it's really gone into had an impact on retail as much as you say it has. So it's kind of great to kind of see those stats. Do you even see Voice happening in retail itself? Do you see any of that sort of kind of century or multi-century environments?
I think it can. It can. I think the typical, even if I just take the your online or mobile commerce environment for a second, and you think about the type of experience that they have. I mean, I can tell you right now from our numbers, anything that ties back to experience is what categories have seen the most growth over time. So whether that's travel, restaurant spend, entertainment, anything related to experience has been on a growth trend, and happy to see the holiday sales, but generally those are the ones that are having this. And you think of the online experience, so obviously convenience is critical. Convenience is a currency, we know this, it's important. But do we have to sacrifice an immersive experience? And so one of the things that we're doing, we're leveraging our payment technology, and we're working with a partner, Next Retail Concepts. And you're actually taking the idea of a physical store where you can actually browse the store, the racks, you see things in a much more visual and immersive way. It's not about going through pages and clicks and catalogs that are sitting online, but it's an actual nice retail upscale environment, and you can actually pay right there as you shop. So there's an opportunity here to actually infuse much more experience with these technologies than we have in the past.
Yeah. That's great to hear that example. Is there anything else? Can you give any other examples of kind of work that you're delivering right now in terms of retail innovation?
I would say, when we think about immersion, we think of our brand, the immersive experience. We think of our brand and how we evolve in our brand itself. And then there's certainly payment technologies. If I start with brand, you look at the different pieces that are going on in think of multisensory, right? When we were kids, they told us to study. Things are a little different now, but they told you the best way to retain the information was to write it down, to see it, to use as many senses as you could to retain that information. You think of multisensory capability. You want to surround the consumer using as many senses as you can. And so one of the things that we're doing, so from a visual perspective, we've the logo was up there before. I don't know if we could put it back for a second. Um, if you've noticed something, we've gotten rid of the name right under our logo. And we've moved into the space of being a symbol brand. And you think about what works digitally and physically in a more modern, simple, immersive environment. We don't need the word. The beauty is that our brand registers. But this is important to us because we thought through what are the different environments now, and how do you modernize and simplify that experience. And that's one of the things
Yeah,
we've actually done.
it suddenly got a lot of buzz, and it wasn't just our design team making a mistake. Not that they would. Um, Yeah, it's interesting. So I think we were speaking before about how it will show up in different
Mhm.
experiences as well, like that. And dropping the word allows you, the name allows you to show up in different places that you wouldn't before.
Absolutely. Think of in a mobile environment where the brand gets smaller. Again, I'm not saying everybody should do this. The beauty is that we have a unbelievably recognized brand around the world. The brand stands for something, and people know that when you see that brand, you could use your card there, and the logo itself. It translates even better than a word in a quick way. So that's one
Hmm.
way.
But I think your business is going beyond the card. I think that's one of the big missions. Yeah.
Well, it's important that we show up, from a payments perspective. So go back to physical digital now. And certainly, we want the digital experience to be as convenient as safe as possible, as simple as possible. Same as the physical. So I give you the two examples of the two worlds. You're going to see a ton of contactless card distribution this year in the U.S. And so what happens at retail? Uh, Really simple. You could just tap your card and go. What happens at a transit turnstile? You just tap your card, you move in, and your transit ticket's on there. You don't have to worry about anything else. And this helps you move about your day in that environment nicely in the physical world. So constantly looking at consumers and saying, how can you improve the um, the payment experience in each of these environments? On the digital side, you will see something coming out, or you'll start to hear about something. I don't think it will be called this per se, but internally we call it, and then as an industry we call it SRC, which is standard remote commerce. And the idea is at a why in the digital space would we have you know a, a bad experience or a lesser experience than even at the physical point of sale? And so getting rid of passwords, not having to store your credentials all over the place, using tokens so that your card doesn't get passed around, and then making that simplified, streamlined process really easy. And then when you see that logo, again, it's just a simple registration that you could use your card within there, but now in a digital way.
Hmm. I mean, all that simplicity does make me worry a little bit about what's going to happen to my data, how secure is it, and stuff like that. So you taking away my little code. No one knows.
Right.
What happened? What's going to happen to all my information? I mean, how's Mastercard and companies like yours going to working on that to create the better experience, but keeping
I
me
mean,
safe?
it's what we do, and we do this in a variety of ways. I mean, the good news is this logo, when you see it, it does mean trust. We have one of the most trusted and recognized brands in the world, and we can back that. So you think about what's happening in biometrics. Again, you go back to consumer behaviors. We are constantly looking at how consumers are behaving. So a little like about a year or so ago, we introduced something called selfie pay, which was the idea everybody was out there taking selfies, and would younger millennials feel more comfortable with a biometric? So you make a if there was a large expense that was a digital expense, instead of it getting declined, you actually snap a little picture of yourself, and there you go, you wind up being approved, that it's you. And so that's a different way. But then there's ways where you're holding your phone, and it can actually know the way you hold your phone or the way you strike your mobile
Wow.
phone. If you're aggressive swiper like I am, they will know. And there are different ways to really ensure we're securing the environment. And this is our mission, to make everybody feel peace of mind around using their card.
As we think about as we wrap up, I mean, how are you working with retailers and brands? What's your kind of mission this year and the next couple of years in terms of supporting their work?
So obviously, these advancements in working with our partners, both on innovating these type of solutions like the immersive retail environment I talked about, rolling out this contactless technology so we move people through physical environments easier, and then securing the digital. But on the other side, we're doing a few other things. We actually today announced we're partnering with New York City and Company, one of the largest tourism groups in the world, and certainly we're going to work with the retailers in New York City and help them attract more customers to them. We have over 2 billion consumers around the world, so activating our global card holders and getting them using their cards here in New York, and even providing small businesses with tools and technology. That's something we'll be doing here. The second, I would say, is even on the on the travel side, adding to whether it's New York City or other cities here and around the world. Just understanding consumers, they want experiences. So how you add more to the, whether it's a retail experience or the travel experience, and we do this through a Priceless Cities program that we have globally. So really unique consumer experiences in cities all around the world. And we do this and we partner with retailers to make really unique, special experiences with them. And we do this in the passions that consumers care about: sports, culinary, entertainment, and all with the goal that we make our card holders have the best experience possible, and we get them using their cards at in the great retail environments.
And to finish, I mean, I think one of the things we haven't really touched on, but I can sense it throughout, is this idea of this sort of feedback loop. You have so much data, which we started on, and how is that going to feed? How do you feed that back into your kind of with your customers in the retail industry?
I mean, the we absolutely do. So, I mean, the sense of we have Spending Pulse, which we just announced, and that provides a set of industry tools. But we have lots of tools. We work with retailers to actually help them pinpoint what locations they should be picking when they're opening a new store. And so we have innovation services that says, how are you going to streamline your retail environment and make it more experiential and better? So there's so many things we're doing. I guess what I would say is, and hopefully you heard it, we are a technology company. We're not really a financial services company. Everything we do is about understanding these consumers and then bettering the technologies and the capabilities we have to make our card products better with our issuers, and then ultimately the best experience out at the retail level.
Cheran, thank you so much for supporting PSFK's conference and Retail Innovation Week. Let's show a sign of appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you.